All right. How's it going, everyone? Thanks for patiently waiting with us. We're looks like we're streaming. The stream strength is good, so we've got a special one for you. I'm really excited to be hosting today with Jesse Starr from Starr Creations. My name is Jaron Dorman. I'm the creative content manager at Gravity Sketch, and one of the things I get to do is things like this, talking to incredible people out there in the design community, in the making things community, almost I want to call it, just because I mean there's just so much incredible work being done out there in the world, and we love to highlight people in our community at all levels, whether they just started Gravity Sketch or whether they've been using Gravity Sketch for years. So we've had the whole range, and we've got a special one for you today. So, and a little bit of a different one, which I'm hoping everyone is going to be learning a lot from. So, I mean, I certainly did myself. So, without further ado, we've got Jesse Starr here, and I'll just throw it over to you, Jesse, if you want to give a quick intro and let everybody know like who you are and a bit of what you do.
Hey everybody, my name is Jesse Starr with Starr Creations. I do all of the design work there, all of the 3D modeling, all of the CNC work, 3D scanning, anything that involves computers at Starr Creations. I do that, and I also do most of the work for 3D modeling, 3D designing for Monster Jam as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive into some of that too later, and because that's a childhood thing for me, and I'm sure for probably some watching as well. So that could be, I think that'll be interesting to dive into how that some of that happened for you guys. But I just want to thank everybody for joining us live. If you're able to join us live, if you can't stay for the whole thing, feel free to just come back later. This will be available as soon as the live is over. So come back and watch. If you have any questions, pop them in the chat at any point. This is a pretty free form discussion, so I'll be watching the chat to see if anybody has any questions for Jesse or for myself, and I'm happy to throw those up as well. I don't know if you can even see the chat yourself, Jesse. I noticed you wrote something, so if you see a question too, like, and you got it up, feel free to answer it. But I'll be definitely keeping my eyes on it. So. Um, we will have a gravity sketch portion of this where we're going to be diving in and looking at a little bit of some of the work that Jesse's been working on at Starr Creations as well. So that'll be, I think, a nice part of a live where we can dive a bit into the tool and how it's been utilized. But um, you know, from there, let's just dive right into it. So I have my first question for you, which is kind of just a pretty broad one for you, Jesse. But like, you know, why was Starr Creations created? You know, you guys are doing just amazing work and a lot of different applications in regards to custom vehicles. But yeah, I just want to ask you, you know, why was it created?
Starr Creations, the Starr Creations itself was created specifically because at the time, all of us we were all doing different things, and a large client essentially came to a buddy of ours and needed some work done, and he asked if my brother and I could help do it, and so that went well, and because of that, we started the company. So it was sort of it just came out of nowhere, really. It was something we will always want to do for a long time, but we never knew how it was all going to come together, and it just came together for us. And so that's pretty much it. And that client was Monster Jam. So Monster Jam showed up at my buddy's shop and said, "Hey, can you guys make a monster truck?" They were like, "Yeah, sure." And then they called us to help do it. So
Yeah, and you guys, because that's a lot of the work you do. Who are some of your other clients? What are some of the other projects that you guys do in your business?
um, Monster Jam is number one. We built our company around Monster Jam and
Mhm.
with Monster
Yeah.
Jam along with them. So that's number one. But we've also, I mean, we do it for pretty much whoever needs it. We used to do a lot of TV shows. Toy Makers was a big one for us. That was the first TV show we ever did. So David Yankin with Toy Makers was a good gateway for us into that world. And we did, we've been on Netflix shows and what do you call it, Diesel Brothers, different things over the years. Um, as far as, but we always come back to Monster Jam. Currently working on some stuff for some YouTubers, Cletus McFarlane in particular right now. We have a big job for him right now. So
That's awesome.
pretty much whoever needs something, and the most crazy stuff that people need, they usually come to us because we do crazy stuff.
I know because I know you mentioned we had a conversation. I think it was a couple weeks ago now, and you mentioned that you'd been approached by some shows. Do you see that maybe being something that you guys do in the future, where you have some sort of show um, highlighting just all the stuff that you do, at Starr Creations, or do you think that's kind of not really the direction you guys want to go into?
It's well, so for the past maybe 5 years, we've been going back and forth with different companies. We've been back and forth with Discovery Channel, Speed Network, Netflix. They want to make a show about us, and they keep saying they want to make a show about us. We've even filmed pilot episodes, but they always want us to kind of go outside of what we're actually doing and have more of a drama element, which everybody's fighting or we're making things that we don't normally make, and it's kind of like it got to the point where we just turned it all down,
Yeah.
and decided to go heavy into social media instead. After weighing the pros and cons, and so that's what we're doing now, is just pretty much going heavy into social media.
That sounds interesting because it sounds like it could have pulled you into a direction like business wise that could be, I mean, really kind of counterproductive in a way. Would that be accurate to say?
Very much so. Like I said, we've done a lot of TV shows and even stuff that we weren't on the show. We've done stuff behind the scenes where they found a car in a barn or something, but we really made the car. So we get to see a lot of the production going on and the politics there. And it's always, I don't know, it's not something, if we can get a show where we just do what we do and they don't really have a say, that's fine. But it's a lot of fake stuff that I don't really want to be involved in.
Sure.
That's what it is.
I've had my own little taste of reality TV as well, from a personal experience on a reality show, and
Really?
it's just the authenticity is not there, but I feel like there are these like lightning in a bottle productions where genuinely the people behind it actually just want to turn what you do into a show, which is always cool. Which maybe that'll happen for you guys. Maybe someone will just come along and be like, we just want to film what you guys do. And I think personally, I think that would be pretty cool.
There's one right now that's kind of it's just, we're in talks, but there's a possibility for that.
Yeah.
We're also really enjoying doing the social media right now. So
sure.
And these days the social media really, it's very beneficial for us for what we do. The social media aspect is much more so than TV shows. So.
Yeah, of course. Well, I just want to ask about that because I thought that was quite interesting. But back into the actual, the work that you guys are doing. I mean, you guys are doing everything. I mean, you're building the cars, you're fabricating the exterior, the chassis. I mean, there's quite a lot of moving parts going on. I just want to know, like, what are some of the most notable projects that you guys have worked on over the course of the business? Maybe just ones that pop into your head.
Well, a couple of them in particular are like, landmarks in our journey, I guess you could say. The first monster truck that, again, Monster Jam came to our friend, and the first monster truck was El Diablo. And it is crazy. It looks like a giant devil head. And that one was more of they were like, here's some sketches. And at the time, we didn't know what we were doing, So my brother Aaron, who's unfortunately couldn't be here today, but he just grabbed there's a styrofoam company right down the street from us. He grabbed a bunch of blocks of styrofoam, like just regular styrofoam, like you get in a package,
right? And
he stacked it up in the shape of a truck and just started carving. He did that by hand. Wow. And that was the first truck. So that's a milestone right there. I mean, that thing was awesome, considering he made it by hand, and it took 3 straight months. And I think the longest, he worked for like 70 hours one week, and it was like he was like unable to even move after that. But that was a big one. The first time we were on the TV show, that was when we first bought our 3D scanner for that show. It was the Beast for the show called Toy Makers. It was a car called the Beast, where we essentially just added components to it. We created components to fit on an existing vehicle. That was a big one. And then Another big one that I would say was because I grew up liking Bigfoot and like, you know, monster trucks, things like that. So
Yeah.
we actually got to restore Bigfoot number 4 and 8 over the past couple of years, which was a
Wow.
pretty cool deal for us for being in the monster truck industry to be able to restore the first monster truck essentially.
Yeah.
And now when that truck runs, it has our logo instead of a Ford logo on the front hood.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, so that's another big one. I mean, there's been a bunch of big ones, but those are to me three that kind of stand out.
All right. One thing I want to cover, and I know we didn't really talk about it before, but I'm, I know that a large chunk of our audience and our community are not U.S. based and may not even know what like a monster truck is. Could you just like explain what a monster truck is and maybe like what it's for?
Yeah, monster truck. Well, first of all, if they're not US based, it usually doesn't matter. They're at any time, at any given moment, there's a show running somewhere,
Yeah.
and it's all over the world. So whether you're in Japan, Australia, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So, but a monster truck is a these days it's not even really a truck anymore. It's a specially designed chassis with 66-inch tires on it, and we make the bodies for those trucks. So we make the fiberglass mold that, or the fiberglass bodies that go over the truck, which get destroyed all the time. So that's what we do. But those trucks are used in Monster Jam and different shows. Specifically, Monster Jam is the number one, and they basically race the trucks at first, and then at the second half of the show, they just let them go wild on a bunch of ramps in a stadium and destroy the trucks, flip them over, do all kinds of crazy stunts. It's pretty wild. Before we did this, again, I grew up on watching monster trucks and everything, but I've never really been to a show. When we started going to shows after starting this business, it's actually pretty cool. It's actually pretty exhilarating. It's pretty loud, pretty crazy.
Yeah, I remember going to. It's been a while now, but I went to Monster Jam when I was younger, when I was much smaller, and yeah, definitely nothing like never seen anything like it. And it's such a unique thing. Um, just as a spectator, event, but also on the on this side that we're looking at today, the actual building and creation side of it. I just think it's so fascinating, and we actually will be looking at a chassis, I believe, in Gravity Sketch that you guys work around for some of your projects, which I think will be interesting to dive into. But I want to look at uh, basically your Gravity Sketch process or your design process, however that makes sense for you. Maybe we can move into the Gravity Sketch portion of this, where we just look at some of the stuff that you've done using our tool, but then expand into some of your other workflows that you use as well.
Mm-hmm.
What has been the primary use of Gravity Sketch, would you say, in your process? Um, and I want to tack on the end of that, why Gravity Sketch, essentially.
Um, I'll start with why Gravity Sketch. I just forever since I started doing 3D work back in the 90s, a long time ago, I've wanted to be able to model in 3D in VR. It's always like this dream, like for it actually to work. And there's been little tastes of it here and there with like the Rift and everything where we were able to kind of model stuff, but not really. And it's gotten to the point now where it's so, I was like, screw it. I'm gonna try to do it. I bought a Quest 3 and uh, after doing some research, Gravity Sketch stuck out as being a potential modeling tool, and I was like, all right, let's give it a shot. And it turned out that it was way, way more advanced and way farther along than I had hoped, or I even hoped it would be. Honestly, it's out right out of the gate right now. It is awesome, and the ability to, in my case, especially the ability to do subdivision modeling inside of there and edit sub-D meshes is massive for me. So I can actually model inside there now. And I'm currently working on the first full-on Monster Jam truck ever made in VR, 100% VR. It'll come out of Gravity Sketch and go right to a CNC machine. So
That's amazing. I'm realizing your video is frozen for a moment. Let me just refresh this page, see if it fixes it. Okay.
it's my fault, man. I don't know what's happening, but my Chrome completely crashed.
No worries.
Or I would be showing you videos and stuff, but I can't do it.
No worries. You're all good. I just refreshed it. You're fine. You're fine. as long as we can hear you, that's all good. So,
Gosh, I'm
and
so
we roll with the
sorry.
punches. I mean, tech stuff happens all the time, and we've
We can jump
experienced it
into
ourselves.
we can jump in Gravity Sketch if you
Yeah,
want.
let's do that. Let me, if everybody could just bear with me, I'm going to switch the feed over to Gravity Sketch Screen Collab, which I'll briefly mention our Screen Collab tool. And let me just go here. And I'll just fade that over. Okay, cool. Yeah, so while we're letting Jesse get himself situated and hopping in VR here, I just want to mention that what you're looking at right now is Gravity Sketch Screen Collab, which is our 2D experience of the tool where you can join and collab with other people that are actually in VR, just through a link on your computer, whether it's laptop or desktop, and essentially you're able to create notes, leave comments and feedback. You're even able to draw and leave notes and annotations for people to check out later. You can actually create viewpoints and stuff like that. So we just wanted to like really just briefly show everybody because we've had questions in the past about what Screen Collab is, and we've used this in previous lives, and I just wanted to mention it. It's really useful. We love using it, especially if you don't want to put that headset on your head. You can also turn off and on layers. There's lots of functionality, incredible work that the team has put into this tool. But I just wanted to mention Screen Collab is very convenient, I think, especially for moments like this. So, but it's good to see you, Jesse. I see you made it in there. Um, so I just left the chassis open here. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that one first, but we can show some of the other ones in a bit. But yeah, do you want to just like talk about this model here? I guess.
Yeah. So um, this is a so I've been building monster trucks for about 8 years now, and so the way we do it is I have this is a scan that I took. Okay, this is a slightly rebuilt and slightly it's not quite what I usually work on, let's say, but it's this is a chassis. This is a CRD chassis from Monster Jam. It's 100% accurate as far as if I build around this model, then whatever I build is going to fit on the truck. So I've scanned every chassis that we use, and this is one of them. So if I build on here, like which I normally do, is I'll just build directly around this cage. I've got other things that I use as far as tire clearance models, which are high clearance for the tires, so I know it's not going to crash into the body. Certain other things that I use in order to make the body correct. But yeah, this is the model, and this is 100% scale right now. So if I don't know if you can see what I'm seeing, but
I'll tether to your view real quick.
right. So
Yeah, there we go.
this yeah, so this is 100% size right now. So I'm sitting down right now, but let's say I was a kid, I can see what a kid's view would be of this truck as they're walking around it to get a better view of how they see the world. And then I can take this and shrink it down, and I can start building on it, and I can bring it back up again, to full size, just to kind of get an idea of what it looks like, which is so cool to be able to do in real time. And
I mean,
and
what a
yeah,
great way to see like the imposing design features, at scale. Which is really cool.
oh yeah, it's amazing. It's so amazing, and just I don't know, and it's also amazing. A lot of the one of the main things that we've been using this for. Originally, I didn't really think I was going to be able to model as well as I can in here. I didn't think it was going to work as well as it does, let's say. But the original idea was to be able to show clients what we're working with, and so now I can. It's the coolest thing in the world for anybody that I'm working with is to be able to come in and jump in a headset next to me, and we can go in there and build in real time with each other, build right on one of these things and adjust models and go over what we've been working on and see if they like it or not. Right. And it's so, and especially with pass through, I don't know if we've discussed that or not. But pass through is amazing because I can bring Cletus over, for instance, to our shop, and he can sit in here in one of these headsets with me, walk around the car as if it's really there, and the background is the real background. It is just mind blowing. So much so that any future builds we do will include a headset that we will just ship to the customer if they don't have one already ready to go with Gravity Sketch. So I can say, here, log in, we can collaborate from wherever you are in the world. Game changer times a million, dude. It's amazing.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible that you guys are thinking about actually shipping out headsets. I mean, um,
Oh,
but I understand exactly why. I mean, it's the full. I mean, that's worth more money than mocking up the model, getting a bunch of shots of it, or maybe you got to like fly someone out to come and have a
oh,
look at it. I mean, save so
it's
much time and
incredible.
money, I guess.
Yeah, we can go anywhere in the world really and scan a chassis, bring it back here to Florida, and from that point on, I don't have to have any physical contact with anybody. I can build on that chassis, I can collaborate with them, and when we make the parts, fly them over there or drive them over there, they'll pop right on the chassis perfectly as if that car was here the whole time, which
Wow.
is just mind blowing that that's a possibility these days. What it is, it's crazy.
Um, so this reminds me of I mean the chassis. Is this a chassis that you guys built internally in your own sort of like CAD software and just brought
And
into? Yeah, what's the source of this chassis model you've got here?
any, yeah, so this is a CRD chassis. This is just a Monster Jam over the years has used several different chassis. Um, they've narrowed it down to this one, which is a very basic, good for everything chassis, and then another chassis which is used for like gravediggers, vehicles that are thinner and have a different shape to them. So, but this is the main chassis that we use right now.
Gotcha.
We do not make this chassis. In fact, we don't. When we design anything that has to do with a chassis, it's done through a place called the Metal Shop up in Virginia. Our friend Ryan Dishroon, who was he drives a monster truck called Shaker, but he designs chassis. So when we did, for instance, the uh, Dennis Anderson's ride truck, which is called Extreme King Sling, I designed the truck itself, the body, and then we had Ryan design the chassis at the same time. So we were able to, everything was done in the computer. So when everything popped out, it fit so perfectly. It's the most perfect fit we've ever had. I would love to do more work like that where we build the entire thing, but that's
Wow.
not really realistic most of the time. But
Sure, sure. Yeah, I mean it's just an incredible. Um, I just looking at this chassis, I'm already thinking of some stuff I would love to try and design around it. Just um, I think when you have something grounded like this, you can start to imagine the possibilities and really see it being grounded in the real world. I mean, that gets me excited, like because I can make
uh,
something that could probably be fabricated. Are you actually get? Are you so you said you'll use this, and this is at 1-to-1 scale.
mhm.
Are you creating surfaces over this chassis, and then are those going directly to fabrication from Gravity Sketch, or what's that process for you guys?
So yeah, I for the monster truck that we're working on right now, I'm trying my best to do the entire thing as much as I possibly can within Gravity Sketch. So it'll get to a completely finished model for sure. The only thing I'm not going to be able to do is prepare it for CNC, which I have to chop it up into blocks essentially that'll
Sure.
fit in a and it'll fit on our CNC machine, which is eight
Yeah.
feet by 4 feet by 6 inches deep. So if I make these blocks fit in within that block, I can cut it. But that part I'm not going to be able to do in here. But the entire design process I will do in here. Take it
Sure.
out of here, go into another program, and then set it to CNC. So
Got it.
that's the only thing I'm not going to be able to do. I think I can get the body completely done in here, though.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I mean, to essentially, I mean, what you're saying is, I mean, you're creating the design, and then you're able to take that um, straight to fabrication. I mean, obviously, there's a few steps in between, but I mean,
Mhm.
it is essentially the data that you're creating from conception that's being brought into fabrication,
Right.
which is pretty amazing, and at such a scale as well. Do we want to look at some of the other models? Let me see what
Yeah,
else we got here. Um,
I can. You want me to turn
yeah,
on
yeah. Go
the?
ahead. Yeah, yeah. Turn on what you'd like to go for.
Yeah, this is. So let me get rid of that. This is. I don't know if some of you may have seen it, but this is I basically retopologized my actual car in my front yard. I don't know. I'd always wanted to do that. I always thought that'd be kind of a cool idea. So I just decided one day to try it. I had never seen anybody do it before, so I tried to get it up on the internet as fast as possible. And the video is still viral to this day, by the way. But yeah, so I have a 300ZX, 95 300ZX in my yard, and I just went out there one day and decided to start building it. And so this is built directly on the car. It's a
Wow.
sub D model, so yeah, it's pretty intricate actually, but it's yeah. So this is what it actually, the model looks like.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Wow. Yeah. All those control points. Yeah. So you
yeah.
basically traced. I mean, you essentially traced this over your physical car, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Traced it over the car, and I did it the same way I was just doing that truck a minute ago. I was doing I just did it as sub Ds, and yeah, I traced over the car. It took a second to figure out how to make the model, or to make the, the polygons flush with the car,
Sure.
which required a little fancy handwork, whatever, to get your down in there. But because you
Yeah.
can't you move your hands into the car,
Of course.
after I figured that out, it worked pretty well.
Yeah, that is interesting. Like limitation that I've noticed, like a tiny little detail that I've realized with pass through and tracing over things, you can't go through the thing, so you almost have to like create the points just above or something like that. But I'm sure those tolerances will become better as the technology and hardware improve. But I mean, what an incredible process! And if anybody's wondering, you can check out those videos on Starr Creations Instagram account. They're really cool videos
If you
showing some of that process.
if you go to starcreations.com/links, there's links to all of our social media there.
Oh, perfect.
And so yeah, this is on this video. You'll see it on there. It's on pretty much all of our social media.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah. Go check that out if anybody's curious about it. And just as a reminder for any people that are just joining us, if you got any questions for us, just throw them in the chat, and I'll be watching that, and I'm happy to throw them over to Jesse. So, but yeah, so this was yeah, because I remember when I first saw this video, and I was like, man, what a cool process. And so I believe it was the inspiration for us actually creating our recent community challenge, which is creating designing a body kit over an existing vehicle using pass through.
Mm-hmm.
And so you guys inspired that, and it was just because it's such a cool process to see. But what are some of the thoughts that you've had going through this process? Because this is kind of like a new thing. We haven't seen a lot of this type of workflow. Are there any like points of feedback, or maybe things that you wish you had, or I don't know, just thoughts that you had actually using this workflow with Gravity Sketch and your physical car?
Um, it's a good question. The only real, I mean, honestly, that says a lot. I don't really have a negative feedback about it. Everything worked fantastic. The
Mm.
only thing that the only issues that come up have to do with, I believe, the headset itself.
Mm.
Uh, Meaning, like, if the car is reflective. We have in
Mm.
our at our shop, in our front yard, in our front parking lot, we have an actual MiG 21 jet sitting there,
Oh wow.
and I tried to retopo that just like I did this car, but it was so reflective that it just wouldn't. It wouldn't work. It would lose tracking and everything. But that's not your,
Yeah.
Gravity Sketch's fault. Things like that are the only issue, in the fact that using this on a sunny day, if you're going to do this, first of all, be careful, because you don't want to get light inside of the internal lenses. But I would do it on an overcast day. It works 1,000 times better. When I did
Yeah.
this car, overcast outside.
That's actually a really great pointer. Yeah, we've noticed that the hardware works much better with non-reflective surfaces, and maybe, like you said, maybe
Mhm.
that's something that'll improve. over time with future iterations. But yeah, I mean, we always love to just ask, when, especially when people are doing interesting new things with the tool, what are their honest thoughts and feedback? What are some things, maybe some other applications they could see, with that workflow that they've done. So, um, yeah, super cool.
Let me get rid of that. So here's another chassis, by the way. For those of you who are have been following the Cletus McFarland Leroy build, this is the scan of Leroy's chassis right here. It looks pretty sparse, but this is it's really hard to scan a tube frame. It just doesn't like to scan tube frames or
Yeah.
scanners. So this is basically what I needed to make the body. So it's all the external, it's all the
It's almost like all the
yeah,
touch points.
yeah, anything that I need to build around is represented here well enough. And so this is the chassis. This is Leroy's chassis right here. The actual body that we're working on is that. So this is the actual latest and greatest. In fact, you can see here the exhaust right here is going to have to be relocated to down here because this is going to be a funny car body, which means about right here, it's going to have a pivot. And so it's going to open up like this.
Oh, wow. That's super cool.
All right. So to access the engine, there's also going to be a door right here, which is just not in this model, but he'll be able to escape if he needs to. But yeah, this is going to pop up like a funny car. And so it had to be designed to where when you do that, nothing crashes into the chassis. So everything had to work properly. So everything should function properly. You always get to the end, and there's always one or two little hiccups that you have to work around. But for the most part, this is going to be it. And this is I'd show you a picture of it again if my computer didn't crash out on me. But again, you can watch our videos. You can in our recent videos. This is a bald eagle head right here. So there's a beak.
Yeah. So there's going to be a pretty extensive paint job on this too, I'm assuming.
Oh, it's going to be well. In fact, we're going to wrap it.
Wow.
Because we're going to make this is like version 1 here. So this is Leroy 1.0. There'll probably be a 2, maybe even a 3. But this model partially was built in here. A lot of it was we would collab with him, and he would be like, well, can you move this wheel in? And I can just be like, yeah, I can just sit here and right in front of him just adjust the
wow, yeah,
car and everything. And it's like mind blowing to him or to any customer really to be able to see that happening right in front of him on a car that's full size, sitting in his garage.
For sure, yeah. So I think I know the answer. Sorry, I think I know the answer to this, but do you plan on bringing some other colleagues into collab as well? Do you think that would be useful for you and the team, or
what do you mean by that?
Just like bring them into the space so they can actually see the car full scale, 1-to-1 in VR as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, I try to bring as many people in here as humanly possible. I mean, people will be. I did it at the beach one day just for a video, really. But people were walking by, and I threw like 10 people in here just because they were like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I'm like, check it out. So yeah, I mean, all the guys. We have actually 4 headsets now at the shop. This is one of 4. I actually have them here, but yeah, so we can all get in there and we'll have meetings from home. And we'll always be like, look, we want to talk about the car. And we can all 4, excuse me, everybody from the shop that's involved can jump in it at once. And we can make design changes and everything right here. And sometimes we have Cletus come in and while we're working, and he'll be in there with us,
And so, and you, not all of you, would you say you're the only designer that are in some of these conversations?
Yeah, as far as Starr Creations goes, I do pretty much everything as far as design goes. My brother Aaron also has input, and he'll do sketches, drawings, things like that. But when it comes to really diving into it and making it a reality, I do all the 3D modeling and everything like that.
So your teams, it sounds like your teams found it useful then, from not just a design perspective, but have you found it like in the conversations you're having when you're showing this model to other people that you're working with? Are they able to find it useful for them in terms of like tolerances or like engineering decisions that they can make around the creation of the vehicle?
Well, Yes, but honestly, I'm the only person that's doing any of that, and
Yeah.
as on our end, but as far as even tolerances, everything. I mean, I do most of my work in here now, and
Yeah.
so all of that has to be taken into account. So yeah, tolerances, and then like we have a CFD program. We did extensive wind tunneling on this car.
Wow.
With gas speed on elsewhere, so I'll take it out of here, throw it in there, wind tunnel it, bring it back, move things around, back and forth. But
Wow.
yeah, it's invaluable, man. At this point,
Yeah, it's really cool to see. I don't know. I love seeing just one to one examples of this where Gravity Sketch is built over something real and then it just moves into that fabrication phase. I don't know. There's
mm-hmm.
just something satisfying about it. Makes you feel like the freedom of creation and freedom of ideas that you have inside Gravity Sketch can be implemented. I mean, we know that so many ways that it could be implemented, but it's just always inspiring when we see like new applications of it like this. So, um, I I am gonna check on comments here really quickly. Doesn't seem like we have any questions yet. I think probably we just have people that are enamored by the process, I would assume. Um, I want to ask you, how do you plan to use Gravity Sketch going forward? Are there any other ways that you see yourself using it in the workflow, not just in yours, but maybe with the rest of the team um, in the future? Ways that you think you might expand, um, yeah, just how the tool is used now that you've actually had some time to spend with it.
um, it's a good question, man.
And if not, that's fine. We're just more of like a question from curiosity.
Well, there's a lot. I mean, there's unlimited. I just see unlimited possibilities and
Mm.
unlimited. What can't you do with it? Kind of a situation. But like, I would love to. And we kind of touched on this, but I would love to be able to somehow have sort of a do what we're doing right now, but with other people inside of VR, where I can be in here walking around this car with them and talk about it, and maybe have a live sort of, I don't know, like a always live room that's there with a constantly updated model or something along those lines where people can interact with it and have interaction with like fans and people like that. That would
Mm.
be really cool for the future. I mean, I don't know where the VR is in that right now. I know that
Yeah,
there's other things that do that, but they're very, very, very limited because I guess bandwidth limitations, things like that. But that would be a really cool one in the future to be able to bring those people in here and see it as well, not just the clients.
I love that idea, and that's actually something we've talked about. Dan and I, who you've met,
Mm-hmm.
we've talked about. How can we bring more of the community into these experiences together, um, and yeah, really just honestly bringing more of the wider community into the process and building things together. I mean, we've seen like some micro communities where groups of people will get together, create stuff together in Gravity Sketch. Um, but how can we help facilitate this? Help encourage it a bit more. And that's definitely sounds like it's in line with what you're talking about. Where it sounds like what you're saying is basically just a collab room that is publicly available. Um, Anybody
Mm-hmm.
can come in at any time, and mess around with stuff. Essentially, almost like a live studio space in a way.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. There's so many opportunities. There's so many. I see a lot of opportunities with that. Even like I can just imagine like a community designed monster truck or something like that, where people come
Yeah.
in and they're able to just sketch right on what the bot or the chassis that's in there or something, and just give ideas. I don't know.
Maybe we should do that. I mean,
So
I don't. I mean, we could figure out like the details, but I don't.
mhm.
I honestly don't think it would be too crazy. I mean, we'd have to, look at sort of like the logistical aspect of it, but I mean, I think that could be totally possible. Um, but absolutely, I mean, ideas like that. I mean, I think those are the kind of things that we want to encourage and do some more of in the community because I think that you just you just won't fully see the possibilities until just people can get together, um, And I think right now in design, you don't see a whole lot of collaboration like that happening. I'm not saying collaboration doesn't happen, but what I'm saying is that live, almost physical
Yeah.
collaboration happening
It's
where,
like the weird
yeah,
blending between the virtual world and the real world that's happening now. That's never really
yeah,
been. It's never been this right before. It's never felt this natural before,
mm,
and so it's yeah, it's a new. For me, it's a whole new world that I've been waiting for a long time. But it feels really, really good to have other people in here and show them walk around and for them to have just to have this little ball right here that they can sketch their idea right on this thing. Like Cletus can sit here and go, yeah, I want to do this, and it's just and I can just save that. And now I've got his notes that he did in real time that I can work on later. Oh man, it's just so cool.
it's amazing, and I'm definitely gonna have that as a note for Dan and I to discuss at a later time because I think there's something to that, and it's definitely in line with some conversations that we've had internally. But if anybody else has thoughts on that as well that's listening, definitely drop a comment because these are the kinds of things I think um, we really want to sew into. So um, let me have a look. So this is kind of a broad question, but yeah. I won't get any more ahead of it, but I'll just ask you. What excites you about the future of creating?
Um, Man, that's the thing about our business that's really cool is that there's not a lot of limitations. There's
Yeah,
really no limitations, especially with independent truck driver, or independent, monster jam drivers, or people like Cletus, or just people who are just need something crazy. Like
yeah,
this is crazy. The car looks like an eagle. If you see the finished rendering with the feathers and crap all over it, it looks crazy. But like normally you can't get away with that kind of stuff in the world. You just it's like, oh good. But we can do whatever we want. So the future of design for me is just letting people know that's an option. You know what I'm saying? Like you
right.
can do some crazy crap that nobody's ever done before, and that's totally cool. Um, I don't know. Again, giving these things to clients and being able to collaborate from around the world or whatever,
Sure.
just just that, and we're just not getting into it. So it's hard for me to even say what the future is because that is the future for me right now. That's like it's here right now. Like the major
Yeah.
hurdle is already over. Now it's just what do you do with it?
Sure.
And
Yeah,
and it's
that's
a broad.
awesome.
I know it's a broad answer, man, but it's
No, no. I mean, it was a broad question, and
it's
it's hard to kind of pin it down, but maybe something that's a little bit more grounded as well. What excites you about the future of Starr Creations? Where's the business headed? Where do you see it going? Where are you excited
um
about where it's going?
yeah, I'm excited about. Well, first of all, like I said, we just started firing up the social media really intensely, and
Yeah.
so that direction to be able to, that's opening up a lot of doors that are more creative. People are this is giving us a lifeline out to people that are there like, oh, you guys will do the crazy thing, you guys will do whatever.
Mm,
So all this new stuff's filtering in. We're doing stuff right now that there's so much stuff I can't talk about, unfortunately, but
yeah.
some really cool, crazy things. And because of our social media getting as big as it is and getting bigger, people are starting to realize that we can do these things. So they're coming to us. Whereas, and again, we can do everything from scratch, from us scratching it on a napkin all the way to the final build and putting it on a body, so or on a chassis. So it's like the fact that we can do everything. It's more of a there isn't any limitations to what we're going to do in the future.
Mm,
So it's all awesome. I want to do more stuff like this.
yeah.
Um, like Cletus's car, like this is a fun one for me. This kind of stuff where you've got somebody that's already well known that and all these people are following and they're all excited and they're like, yeah, this is and it was an overwhelmingly positive response on this car, for instance. But like that whole world is what I'm excited about right now, and whatever comes from it, man.
Well, I mean, back to what you were saying earlier. I mean, it really sounds like the social media route versus you know,
Mm.
um, you know, the reality TV route was a good decision for you guys. Staying true to the types of
Yeah,
projects
that's
that
the
you
thing
guys
too.
want to do.
Yeah, staying true to that. We just didn't want to be fake.
Yeah,
We didn't want to do anything that wasn't actually happening or actually us. We didn't want to pretend to have arguments or all this nonsense. just to be able to do it right and honestly, and here's what we're actually doing. That's a big deal for us.
Yeah, well, I'm honestly very excited to see where you guys go, and I know we've discussed, in our previous chats, um, some of the you've hinted at some of the projects you guys are working on now that you can't talk
Mhm.
about. We might need to just have a follow up and have a look at some of that stuff once you're able to share it, because I think that these projects and these things you guys are working on are just inspiring, and also just really great practical ways to get people thinking about how to apply their ideas and maybe fabricate them, or just completely different, in a completely different industry. So to me, it's very inspiring in that way. Um, as we kind of close here, I want to ask you if you have any wisdom or advice for anyone out there looking to start their own business or trying to figure out what they'd like to bring into the world. Again, kind of a broad, big question, but I mean, you've been at the ground floor of this company, Starr Creations, with your brother, and
Mhm.
I'm sure that you've gathered some thoughts and some bits of wisdom along the way. And yeah, just wondering if you've got anything you'd like to share in that regard.
Yeah. So the main, the from what I've learned, the main thing that I always tell people is, first of all, as someone who was, I never went to college or anything, man. I just started learning how to do 3D modeling on my own in my, you know what I mean? And this
Yeah.
literally out in a barn behind my house and on an Amiga 3000 computer. I'm learning how to do 3D modeling just because I like doing it. I'm failing school, yada, yada, yada. And like, I never went to college or anything. I mean, I graduated high school, but I never went to college. So it's been more of a, just, I'm going to just do it on my own sort of a situation. And what I want to tell people is that for a very long time, I was like, man, you see this guy on TV or you see this lady doing this thing or whatever, and you feel like have been, they know what they're doing. They're 100% everything. They're like perfect designer or whatever. But what it comes down to, man, and I've met a lot of people doing this, like a lot of famous people that I still look up to them, but I used
Mm-hmm.
to look up to them and say, oh my God, I'll never be that good. Is, dude, nobody knows what they're doing. Dude. No, not, you know what I mean? Like, even the people that know what they're doing uh, are still just, every day is different. Every day is,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Just, you're figuring out every single day, you're figuring out what's going on. And I do the same thing. And
Mm-hmm.
so does everybody that I've met, man, really. So, and
Man.
that to me is a big deal. Not to know that you aren't like less than they are, that you're probably on the same level. You could even be more advanced than they are, but you just feel like I'll never be that good. That's absolutely not the case.
Everyone's trying to figure it out. Everyone, has so much more to learn and understand. So stop worrying about what other people are doing and just enjoy the process. That's kind of what I
But
got from that.
yeah, enjoy the process. What you're doing is probably awesome. And there's
Yeah.
going to be people that are like, dude, that's freaking great. So,
Wow. Yeah. What a great piece of advice. Honestly, I think it's very relevant too, especially to today. I mean, it's so easy to see all the crazy stuff out there that everyone's doing, and while it can
mhm.
be inspiring, it can also be daunting in a way. And
That's the problem.
um,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, so thank you for sharing that. I want to thank everybody that's been watching with us live. If you've got um, any suggestions for us in terms of these live interviews, or anything that you want to give us in terms of your feedback, go ahead and leave us a comment. We do have a question from Jonathan Mitchell. Do you see yourself adding Gravity Sketch artists to your team this year?
um, well, it's a possibility. Okay, let's put it this way. I want to get to the part where I need to have somebody else come in and do it.
Yeah.
As it is right now, again, I'm doing everything. So all the monster trucks that we do, all the car, everything, I'm doing it all, and it's a lot. It's a lot, man.
Yeah.
So, but and so yeah, there's a good possibility of that, and especially it's cool because now I just thought about this, but this is a great work from home type of job that somebody can actually have, dude. They can just
Yeah.
do that. They don't have to physically be in the same state. Now that I think about it, it didn't even occur to me before, but that's awesome.
Well, and especially with collab like what we're doing right now. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
somebody could literally do this type of work, and you could just hop in, and you would just as you're doing it now. I mean, see it 1-to-1 scale, which is pretty powerful.
Yeah, yeah. We do it
Cool.
together, same room. Yeah, it's that. Yeah, that. It probably will. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a really bad cold, so I'm coughing a lot. But
No
yeah, it'll
worries.
probably be happening. I mean, I would love to be able to hire at least one person soon.
Great question, Jonathan. Well, keep an eye out for Starr Creations and any job postings they might be putting out. So,
Just follow us.
um,
So if it happens, it'll be on there for sure.
yeah. Um, and we do have links to Starr Creations socials, and I believe the website in the description as well. If not, I'll make sure to add it afterwards. But yeah, definitely go check out Starr Creations on Instagram. Check out their website. Also check out their YouTube channel. They're doing incredible work, showing all the kind of the behind the scenes of their projects and how they actually build these cars and what goes into it. So I just really want to thank you for your time today, Jesse, as well, and just giving us a little bit of a peek, a look under the hood, so to speak, and having a look at the chassis, explaining sort of what needs to go into creating a lot of these cars while you're using Gravity Sketch. I think that's been really inspiring. Yeah, awesome. starcreations.com/links. Jesse's just brought it into the room there. So if you want to follow that link, everyone, you can check that out. I guess I could also link it in um, the comments as well. But yeah, everyone go check out that link if you're interested in learning more and diving more into what Starr Creations is up to. And like I said before, this might be worth a follow up at some point. Jesse, just keep us in the loop when maybe some new exciting stuff is coming out, and maybe it'll be a good time for us to revisit. And
Yeah, I want to bring that monster truck on here whenever we're done with it.
yeah,
I would show you right now, but I'm not allowed. So
you're
as soon as we're
totally fine.
available, I would love to
Yeah,
go through the whole process. I've recorded the entire thing with the driver that's going to be driving it. It's going to be crazy, man. It's gonna be a game changer for Monster Jam. So yeah, it'll be pretty
I
interesting.
can't wait to see it, honestly. And I think what we could do is use that as we'll probably do that as a live sketch session,
Yeah,
just purely looking at the design, Gravity Sketch side, creation side of it, and I think that'll be a really good one. Um, well, thank you so much, Jesse. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. If you missed it, just as soon as the live is over, you can just start from the beginning. So, thank you, everyone, and tune in, or sorry, stay tuned for our new challenge that we'll be announcing this week for the month, and where we basically send out a challenge prompt, and you just hashtag us, hashtag Gravity Sketch Challenge for your submissions, and send in what you've created based on the prompt, and then we usually just pick a winner from that. And it's a really great way to get inspired by others using the tool and maybe new ways of using the tool itself. So anyway, I just want to thank everybody for watching. Thank you, Jesse, so much for your time. And
thank you
with
for having
that, we say goodbye.
me. Bye, everybody.